Mac is back.
What's wrong, Lucas? What's wrong?
Mac
You
is
should be
back.
happy. We're back. You should be ecstatic.
We're back, Lucas.
I'm super stoked. Super stoked.
The guys have been busy out here. We've all been traveling. We've all been grinding. We've all been shipping. But it all comes back full circle here at the Knack Podcast.
There it is. What's up, gang? How we
Right.
doing? Haven't seen the four of you all together in a minute. The three
That's
of
right.
you.
Nope.
To our loyal audience, we apologize, but we're back. And we're here to bring you a riveting hour of content. Talking about all the latest and greatest hits. We got a lot to cover here. The agenda is jam-packed. Where do you even want to start, man? I mean, there's so much to get into.
I don't know when the last episode was, but if you think about it, a whole generation has passed, technically.
A true
on the timeline.
generation has passed.
And there's just not enough time to properly talk about and reflect on everything that happened. But shout out Lucas for taking a stab at it with the agenda. Lucas, what's on the agenda?
Hey.
Well, not the first time I'm seeing Adam and David today. Largely
Nope.
because Adam has kicked off Blueprint Cohort 3. Me and David and Adam had a nice, lovely chat by the fire earlier today, talking creator coins, loyalty coins.
Yep.
Really indoctrinating this new cohort of creators that are not crypto native at all. They don't know anything about crypto. And I thought it was a great conversation, but maybe give you the floor to talk about Blueprint Cohort 3, where you're at, what's new, what's going on.
Yeah, Blueprint Cohort 3, loyalty coins. Every creator in the cohort is dropping a loyalty coin, a coin whose intention is to help their audience earn the coin and then redistribute a significant percent of the revenue back to supporting the coin and their entire ecosystem. All these creators are mainstream creators. They have anywhere between, I think the smallest one has like 30K followers between Instagram and TikTok, and the largest one has like 1.6 million between Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and they range between food content to extreme sports to comedy skits and even a magician, which is pretty cool. All these creators know the uphill battle of posting and showing up every single day, and all of them have been a victim of the system of just earning attention but not being able to monetize it effectively. So our whole goal at Blueprint is to help them launch the coin and run these incentivized campaigns, helping their audience earn their coin when they collect their content. For the first time, they're monetizing their content directly, and I think that's a win. It's not a perfect system yet, so if any Blueprint collectors are listening, it's a work in progress, and we're seeing that in real time. The Discord has been the busiest it's ever been. The site has been the busiest it's ever been. And our small full-time team of 2 is actively trying to work on all the fires that are happening, but it's all good stuff, and I'm really excited for it, and they seem to have a kick from it. And Lucas and David, you guys had an amazing session. They left the session, they're like, wow, that was our favorite session so far. And we have tomorrow is the final day where we have Dan doing a fireside from Farcaster. We have Toady Hawk coming in, an alumni from Cohort 2, who then started Betterment off the backbone of Blueprint, and it's going to be fun. So 1 coin a day, 1 creator reveal a day. We spotlight them in our Discord, on X, and we try to give them a moment on chain.
I'll give a shout out to Chevy. The new the UI for Cohort 3 is really nice. Makes it really simple. You can see the buybacks, how many have happened. I felt like the creators can easily see the value of their token, and I liked how you framed it as the value of their loyalty. What did you said the value of their loyalty network?
It's a loyalty coin.
Their
Value
loyalty
of their network. It's a value. It's the value of their loyalty program. Yeah.
The program. That's how you said it. This is the value of your loyalty program.
Yeah.
And it looks really good, and seems like these people are really resonating with it.
Thanks. It's a work in
Pull
progress.
up, Chevy. Let's get a little product demo here.
Let's check it out. All right. So we're
I also just want to give a shout out to David's mouth right now, just holding in tons of mints.
So many
Just
mints.
So many mints right now.
Is
The
it
Mint
that obvious
Podcast.
that I have? Okay, maybe I threw in 3 mints. Maybe I got a little aggressive.
Let's see. Let me share
The
this.
real Mint Podcast right there.
Literally.
It's a real talent, David, honestly, to have that many mints and to be able to articulate, so eloquently.
The new BP.fun. Cohort 3 is live. A bunch of short form video content creators now posting on chain and using their underlying coin as the incentive. So for example, we have Xavier over here launched Zay. And you can see that people are earning Zay on the site. Content autoplays, they can consume the content, and essentially once they mint, it takes them to the next post. This is what Zay's page looks like. So you can see that Zay has basically sold the value of his loyalty network, his program that we kind of educate them on is roughly 200K. He's sold about 3.2K worth of his content, and he's given out rewards native to his token, almost $725 worth of it. And this whole new feed, Zay has only uploaded 3 posts, given that we started yesterday for now. And you can see his top collectors based off how much they've earned, what they've collected. And then there's also a trade tab that basically measures his volume over time, how many of the percentage that he earned from his gross sales, how much of that was linked back to supporting the token via buybacks. And you can kind of see his like little economy forming on BP.fun and using his content as the core driver for that.
So how much has he earned like directly to him once you take out the buybacks?
You could basically do 20% of this, so whatever that comes out to. Yeah. So let's say if you go into your settings over here, you could basically toggle your active tab of all the posts that are currently active, and you can kind of see a summary breakdown of how much you've earned per post as a result net. And then the cool thing about this is that with season 3 in full effect, we take a percentage of all the revenue, we pool it into a prize pool, basically, and we distribute that to collectors. I think the Zerion API is down, which is what we use to pull the live data from the prize pool.
Is this all on Zerion?
No, I mean, this one in particular we take from the Zerion API, and we've been having issues with that the last couple of days, but there should be like around $2,000 in here, give or take, right now. And then collectors compete to be at the top of the leaderboard by collecting content, and you can kind of see the all-time leaderboard. We have these really cool features where you can see our top collector has earned about $71,000 collecting content on the site. It's a mix of incentives and the prize pool itself. You can see their badges, and we have a little community forming here on BP.fun. It's coming together slowly but surely. So the homepage is going to feature basically cohort content from cohort 3, all the different content that they can earn. So alumni is constantly posting on BP.fun alongside cohort 3, and we have an incentive engine running on BP.fun. We also added this little side nav where our goal is to help collectors earn at least $100 a day. So let's say right now when they go and try to collect, let's say Xavier's post, I go ahead and mint the post. It goes ahead and confirms that you minted, and then you can earn Zay, the underlying coin. And you see that your daily post increases, your daily post goal, collecting goal, increases, and so does your earnings goal once it transitions to the next mint, right? So I basically earn like 39 cents over there. So we keep the collector going. Just keep clicking. That's what we want, to just keep clicking, consuming and clicking, and to keep earning. So
I have a question, Chevy. Yeah. When you and I met a couple times, I know you were pretty early to using AI to work with your engineers.
Yes.
I think you're a big fan of Replit.
Yes.
And now seeing the finished product, could you walk us through what here was like part of your Replit prototype and then how that ended up in the final product?
This side nav over here, this right side nav, was in the Replit prototype. I basically prompt what I imagine I want it to look like, or the problem at hand that I'm trying to solve. We have a UI library that I tell Replit to build from with different components, and it creates the side nav, and it's a constant like natural language prompting iteration of no, it's not supposed to be like that. Or with every feature that I build, I create different states. There's the non-active state, the default state, the hover state, the active state, and it kind of outputs all the different states onto a single page. And then when I hand it off to our engineers, you see all the different states as to what every single part of the product should look like depending on what the user is doing, right? So if you're logged out, for example, this right side nav looks different than when you have no collects versus when you have collected something. Same thing with the streaks, right? So it's like we give people, I'm busy shipping. I'm not collecting enough as I should or earning enough as I should, but whatever, there's different states for your street goal, for example, or the wallet at hand, right? Yes, it's totally the Zero API. And yeah, so also with selecting different mints. So it's a combination of like doing wireframes in Figma, screenshotting them, bringing it to Replit, and like using the two tools simultaneously to build stuff out. Yeah.
Cool. Honestly, incredible, Chevy. Like just team of two. And I feel like this finished product is really solid. Like,
Thanks.
I'm really impressed.
Thanks, man. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you. It's coming together. We have contractors that help us that are part-time, but Will has been killing it. Shout out, Will, if you're listening.
Slowly you deserve some mints.
Thanks. Thank you, guys. But that's cohort 3. I'm really excited about it. 1 coin per day, spotlighting 1 creator per day, showing the creators a taste of earning on chain and building on the new internet. I've been also figuring out different phrasing for cohort 3. I've been trying to tell them that you guys have been building an audience on the old internet, and now there's this brand new internet that you guys know nothing about. There's 40 to 7 million monthly active users on this new internet, and they're all eager to spend money on people like you if you're able to provide them with the right upside in doing so. So a lot of the hand holding is trying to pill them on the difference between the old internet and the new internet, publishing online versus publishing on chain, and trying to create like a lot of comparative words, adjectives. I also have this slide in the curriculum where I basically show them the verbs and adjectives of posting content online and how that compares to the verbs and adjectives with posting content on chain. Right. So like there's commenting, liking, and sharing. And here there's staking, trading, and earning. There's like different words that they need to understand as they build their audience on chain. So the biggest thing that I want to work on with them is trying to think through how to port over their existing audience on these traditional networks and bring them to the on-chain world.
Is there a common question or challenge they have into thinking about how what they do translates into on-chain?
The biggest challenge that they see is really understanding the whole mechanics of also why people spend and how to create the right systems to keep people spending. I think you guys also might have mentioned this during your session. Like, I don't know if you guys said specifically like profit-seeking users, but there is the financial element of creating content and figuring out how to lean into that. And I think one thing that really resonated with the cohort, why they thought your session was so valuable, is because you were giving them like the optimal strategy. Like when we were talking about Daniel Allen, for example, like he started on chain, built his audience, made money, and then started growing off chain on the online world, right? It gave them perspective as to how they should maybe be strategizing between their existing platform and this new platform and vice versa. So they're looking for like playbooks as to how to implement this stuff themselves. They're eager to learn more because I feel like I've done a solid job pilling them on the why and the how, and now I'm showing them the what. So shout out to Simon Sinek for all that formatting. And I don't think it's perfect. There's some holes in what we're doing that we're trying to iterate on, particularly around the buybacks and all that stuff, but it's an active work in progress.
Chevy's experimenting,
ABC, always be ABE, always be experimenting.
And how do you feel about having these loyalty coins in the market now from the perspective of Blueprint and sort of the competitive landscape that exists out there?
I feel as if you zoom out in the next 5 years, I think there's going to be multiple different ways for creators to earn money on chain. And if you look at the traditional online world of them building audiences, they don't basically say, oh, I'm going to make money this way and not make money this way. Like creators have multiple revenue sources online. And I think what we're doing is actually quite complementary to everything else that's happening on chain. And they can either launch their own coin on bp.fun or bring their existing coins to bp.fun. So I don't know if it's quite competitive compared to the other token launch pads. I think we're building for a particular use case. And if we keep building for a particular use case, maybe we could try to differentiate ourselves that way. So for example, things that are happening on Zora, I think it's actually quite complementary to what we're doing on Blueprint. And all the coins that they launch are also linked to the Create coin that we launched on Blueprint. So when when Zora does better, Create does better, and then all these other coins on bp.fun do better as well. So I don't see it as like a competitive nature as it is complementary. Creators are not going to say no to earning more money.
Yeah, I guess from my perspective, though, it's like you have that Zay token that's trading at like 200K cap right now.
Right.
And that's definitely like a pretty good new signal from Blueprint, where before, when you were trying to bet on the upside of the Blueprint platform, you're basically just collecting content and getting the rewards and like create or whatever rewards token you're offering. I feel like actually having that loyalty coin now gives you a little bit more tangible way of actually betting on the upside of the creator as a whole, which I find to be like probably the most compelling new aspect of this cohort compared to other ones.
Totally. I think if you zoom out even more, right now, Mint Podcast has done about almost 20K in buybacks in less than a week. And that has netted me around almost 8 or 9K to my own pocket. Through that, I've given out about 35K of incentives using the Mint coin. So the thing that's most compelling over here, frankly, is if I was able to drive around 20K worth of buybacks routed through my coin and then in turn through Create's coin, imagine what that looks like at Creator 100, Creator 1,000, when you have all these creators basically multiplying their buybacks, routing all value through the core network currency. And how if you're able to exert enough buybacks and enough pressure organically, right, and through paid incentives as well, then you have this flywheel effect that ends up benefiting all the creators on the platform that end up launching coins, these loyalty coins. So getting the flywheel going is difficult because I clearly see the vision myself with the Mint coin, and I know what this could look like when all these coins are live, and see what the experiment will look like once we're all consistently buying back our coins and routing all that through Create as an example. But it's going to take time for that vision as a whole to come to life.
I have a lot more questions I could ask on this topic, but I want to be sensitive of our very fat agenda that we got going on here. So for now, I will just say congrats on cohort 3, Chevy. Excited to check out all the creators that you're working with. Excited to buy some loyalty coins and stoked to see what you do with it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Thank you. What's
yeah,
that?
And I guess on the topic of coins, there was a major acquisition last week. Farcaster acquired Clanker. A lot of stuff to unpack there. I think like one of the big things is really over the past probably 2, 3, 4 months, like Farcaster has really positioned itself on the trading front and really being like a really solid wallet and way to own and swap coins across any network. So they're supporting like Base, Ethereum mainnet, Binance Chain, Solana, Hyperliquid. And I think as a whole, this Clanker acquisition is probably in the vein of like serving them as like a launch pad too, so that they own the launch or the creation or the generation of these coins. But yeah, what do you guys think about the Clanker Farcaster acquisition?
I think it's great.
Awesome. Next topic. What else happened this
Sorry,
week?
my bad. That was bad.
As someone who's owned Clanker since the very early days and did well on like the first swing of it, I think that there was like a general sideways nature to it for a long time. I think that there was a lot of protocol fees that were stacking up, but no one really felt confident in how those protocol fees were going to be used or routed back through the token. And so I think the two biggest signals were like one, that Farcaster is really repping and endorsing Clanker more directly in their product, which I think gives it a much higher service vector for people to use it in the future. But then the buybacks, I think, were really just the main thing that got people fired up, is actually seeing there be more consistent on-chain buybacks of the token, all those fees going back in. And it feels like it was just a big wake-up call for a lot of traders who had maybe been familiar with Clanker in the past, but kind of not willing to touch it previously. I mean, the coin's up, 3x in the last week or something like that. I think they're doing around like 500 grand in buybacks. I want to say a day at this point is what I saw, or something crazy like that. So yeah, I just think really positive signals. I think a lot of it is very manual right now, which feels okay to me, but it does feel like over time, Farcaster is going to figure out how to automate those buybacks more. And I think that the value of the token will be reflective by how much people use Clanker and the Clanker ecosystems, which is really healthy.
Do you think this is in response to like the Rainbow Clanker acquisition, like falling through and that being like a nightmare, and then like Farcaster swooped in, was like, hey, we'll actually do it?
They said it's not related. They said it wasn't related. So it makes me think like the conversation with Farcaster happened beforehand, and Rainbow basically made a public scene about it potentially to try to stir up attention and get the community's buy-in. I don't know. There is a perspective to consider that that was the chain of events. but it's hard to really tell. Because Linda said it's not how it happened. Like, she had a comment on Farcaster Twitter, like, it's not what you guys think, you know? So it makes me rethink the narrative a bit.
What do you guys think this means? I've been trying to figure out what this means for on-chain social apps as a category. I think there were a couple of people from Farcaster who basically posted and said, we were trying to grow an on-chain social app for the last year, and no matter what we did, there's not enough interest in that from normal users. And that's why we're effectively openly pivoting to being more of a wallet and more focused on the speculative aspects of crypto and less focused on trying to get people who want to post about food or sports or even posting in general. So I've been trying to is it Farcaster was too big, they raised a huge round, this was kind of inevitable, and you can't really grow the type of business that they need to grow doing what they were doing? Or is the dream of kind of an on-chain social app not viable?
I think too soon to tell. I think that it was my understanding at the Farcaster Dev Day, they communicated that Farcaster specifically is going all in on app coins. And so I don't think that there's any specific prognosis of saying like, we want this one app versus another app. I think the intention is that they want apps that have tokens tied to them. And I think to your point, David, there's a mutual understanding amongst everyone that apps that focus on trading are more attractive to traders because they make more money, and that revenue can be used to do buybacks of those coins. So I think there's two ways of looking at it. One is like Farcaster being a lot more committed to app coin launches, I think is a really healthy signal. I think the second order of business now is like what app coins are actually going to do well from here on out. We saw Replit and kind of this whole like mint that happened there. We saw the Chaos token with those kind of buybacks. And so I think for better or worse, a bunch of traders coming onto Farcaster is what spiked the DAUs to an all-time high. I don't think those traders are probably likely to stick around in the absence of there being new runners, airdrops, incentives. But I think I'm definitely bullish on Farcaster just recognizing where the users are currently at and tailoring their product more towards reaching the existing crypto native users that are here today.
Yeah, I think my take here is like this move to trading and like coin-centric kind of application has been right in front of them the whole time. Like if you look at any significant spike in Farcaster over the last 3 years, it's been around massive token runners, token launches, people trading coins, being early to coins. And that's really been the main driver of growth. Like, you know, if you thought about the original, like, you know, massive spike that it had, it was around that degen and the hires and the whatnots. And I think this is them kind of just capitulating on that front. It's like, okay, this is like, in reality, this is what the market wants, you know, and this is what's going to succeed. And I think in every startup, you're kind of in this, we hit a local maximum at some point, and how do you break out to that next global, you know, maximum? And I think Jacob's been like tweeting that like chart or like that graph. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it really, I think you just kind of hit that ceiling and was like, okay, what's actually driving growth here? And it's coins and it's tokens and it's trading. So
makes sense.
What's next?
Pour one out though. Pour one out.
Pour one out for on-chain social.
Just because, you know, you do think like there should be merit and there should be value in like this decentralized social, you know, application, right? And I feel like they're succeeded on it, but it's just not scaling. And then in reality, I think Ted outlined it. It's like they're trying to go hand-to-hand combat with creators, trying to onboard them. They'll onboard them. They'll post a couple times and they'll churn unless they're like constantly engaging with them and being like, hey, please post again or do something like this. And they're trying, you know, with the creator rewards where they were giving out dollars every week for posting and all that. And I just felt like they were like, oh, this isn't scalable. Like this isn't viral growth, and this isn't getting us to the next leg to the $1 billion valuation. So pour one out, but it is that's showbiz right now.
So what will just leaning heavy into trading? Like that's the only way to do it?
That's really been the only successful application in crypto to date, for the most part. We can argue there's probably some edge cases, but yeah, it kind of just boils down to that, I think.
Yeah, I would say social trading. I mean, I think that FOMO is like a really good example of this, where it's like the intersection of social media and trading. And it feels like FOMO's app's like a little bit different from other trading apps where it's not only focused on like the action of trading itself. It's more around like the gamification of who's trading things and why. And so it's been interesting to see FOMO take up like a lot of that trading bot activity. I think I saw something recently that they were just like right behind Axiom maybe for like the most activity and volume across like all trading bots recently. So I think that's just a very healthy signal that within crypto specifically, the social activity of trading is what's the most interesting here. I think there's an entirely different question of what's most interesting beyond crypto. But if you're occupying crypto users and crypto mindshare, then like the social trading nature feels more significant than maybe the social media aspect that happens to be on crypto rails under the hood or something like that.
Yeah, I do think that's interesting because like in that lens, Farcaster is probably the best position to actually succeed on the social trading front because of like how well they built the social side. Like there's that whole the Farcaster protocol, and that's really at the bottom of the stack. And like people swapping coins is kind of like commoditized. Like you can kind of do that wherever. So yeah, I'm really interested to see how far this gets them when they double down on it. But I would resonate with like the social trading does feel like the vibe across like FOMO or even like Clicker is kind of a newer one that's under the radar. I know Zapper's building on this front. I'm assuming Base app is probably going to move towards this, especially with all the coins or like the content coins that they have. So yeah, just seems like it's trading all the way down. Always has been.
I think the difference there though is like it's the degenerate nature of trading and tailoring the product to that outcome, right? When you look at FOMO and sort of like the things they lean into, it's like the leaderboard of who's made the most money over like a 7-day period, 24-hour period, etc. And the competition is like, I want to prove that I'm the best trader. And so you're going to be able to track my trades in real time. You're going to be able to see where I entered these coins, where I exited them, etc. I think Farcaster has a really strong foundation for conversation around topics, but I don't see Farcaster like leaning into the gamification of trading itself currently. And I think a big reason why an app like FOMO is probably doing more volume than an app like Farcaster on the trading front is because it's really touching that core nerve of like any serious crypto trader, which is like, I want to make the most money and I want to flex on you that I made the most money. And here's my more social way of being able to do that and prove to you that I'm actually as good as I say I am at trading by virtue of showing you my positions in this app.
Yeah, I mean, I think Farcaster can easily implement that. Like if you really think about it, they've been on this path for like 2-3 months probably publicly. And I think those kind of features are pretty easy. I think what is probably the most interesting is actually the context around why you made that trade. Because to me, that's the most interesting part, or why other people will jump in is like, if you can actually make a good case and have context around that trade rather than just like, hey, I just bought this shit coin, but it wasn't really for any purpose. Right. Versus like, hey, there's actually like this thesis around this. And I think Farcaster's positioned to do that.
Lost in the nuance here a little bit, but I guess I would push back on that because the entry and exit on the chart, I think, is more compelling than the reason why you entered the position in the first place. And if you look at
but you're getting that on Farcaster, you're getting the entry and exit. It's not public, I don't think, just yet, but like they have comments and like you can see people's P&L and stuff.
Yeah, lost in the nuance a bit here, but I think it's interesting because like Interface, right, and Clicker and some of these apps have been doing social trading for a long time, but it hasn't really taken off at scale. And I think because it's different. I mean, the traders that are active on FOMO right now, I would argue are like some of the best traders in crypto as a whole. And like the P&L that they're making there is like hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars a week. And I think that those numbers are just like on another level from Farcaster trading, where I think one of the current hitches of Farcaster is that people question how far these tokens can run that are like being spawned on Farcaster. And if you look at like Replit or anything like that, it hit like a 6 mil cap at peak, which was great for people that were early on Farcaster, but like a 6 mil runner is like nothing in the grand scheme of crypto. And so I think that there's just like a wider surface vector for how people are trading across different chains and then them wanting to flex those trades somewhere. And I think right now I question people's desire to flex a trade on Farcaster in the same way they would want to flex a trade on FOMO, which is way more geared towards being able to flex that trade a lot more passively than you would on Farcaster.
I would say give it a few months and we can revisit this conversation.
Fair enough.
I will say like,
over here. Hey, Lucas, you trading on Farcaster?
All the time now, actually.
Nice.
Like actually more and more because that experience is actually really solid. I will say is like I do think FOMO had a pretty massive edge, and maybe this might open up another debate, but like they were Solana first and very Solana centric, and like that definitely just brought in a massive cohort of traders versus Farcasters much more Ethereum aligned, and I think people are way more passive on that front, or like shy, I guess.
Yep.
On the trading
Or just don't
front,
have as much size, frankly.
Well, that's because ETH hasn't fucking gone up in 5 years.
Yeah, neither has Solana, relatively speaking.
Yeah, but at least like it went from, sub $10 to 200. Like ETH is just
don't
oscillating
say it.
for
No, I
5
don't want
years.
to talk about it.
I'm just gonna say it's oscillating.
I don't want to talk about it.
Some would
Talk
say
about
that
it.
there's a lot of coins to trade these days, right? And I think
There's
there
too
was
many coins.
quite a conversation bubbling on the timeline the last couple weeks about the proliferation of these coins. Wasn't there, gentlemen?
I think, I'm going to open up a whole other can of worms, but I think some of the retail altcoin volume is getting taken up by like mid-tier AI companies and Robinhood and people trading rare earth companies and quantum computing companies, and kind of like retail playing those games straight on Robinhood versus doing that in crypto.
I think what's been promising about the FOMO trades recently is that it doesn't feel as much of like you're trying to snipe the newest shitter that launches at $0 market cap and sell it at 100K. It's a lot more of these trades that are like people are putting in 250 grand at Clanker post Farcaster acquisition and then selling it for 150K of profit at, a 1x after the fact. That feels like a healthy maturity of the trading space right now. So I'm definitely very bullish on that. And I also think it could tie into the reason why people are getting so butthurt about all of these, base coins and creator coins and content coins and stuff like that. Because maybe to them, it symbolizes a lot more of these like super fast flash in the pan shitters that I think we're kind of trying to move away from in some way, shape, or form. But I don't know the best way to recap that whole situation or scenario, but it definitely was very, very energetic on the timeline for the span of about a week there when it came to Jesse and base and content coins, etc.
And Warplits. Shout out Suprio alumni cohort 2 for starting Warplits, and all the what was that? What did they call it? The little monsters. Those called the Warplit monster. What is that? What was the official name?
Warplit.
Warplit.
On Degen chain.
Yeah, it's like I think the coolest thing about Farcaster is that it has all this inner on-chain culture that's unique to that ecosystem that just feels so good to be a part of and to see that's separated from what everything else that's happening on AI now. On AI Twitter, like my entire feed is like neobots and AI, and every now and then I get like this crypto thing, and Farcaster allows it to be super focused on that front. So whatever they did, Dan acquiring Clanker, and that spiraled a whole new set of energy that, frankly, I feel like is lifting up the entire space, for what it's worth. And I think the more coins there are, I just want to say this, the more coins there are, the more desensitized everybody's going to become to all this value, the more people are going to be willing to launch coins. And I kind of see Jesse's vision now of like spoon feeding this and like forcing it down people's throat, because frankly, this is the future. I've been skeptical about it in the past, but I think there's a model that fits for everybody. And from someone who's trying to launch coins now, I get it. Like I really get it. I was a little late to it, but I get it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
So what's the take? Are we bullish Jesse, bearish Jesse right now? I'll go on record and say I'm bullish AF.
Bullish.
Max bullish.
You can't bet against Jesse. You just can't. You cannot.
Why? I don't understand why he just started getting flamed so aggressively. Like it was so crazy. I just feel like there was all of a sudden there was like a coup out to try and find ways to take him down, and it was really tough to watch, honestly.
Look, there were some threads that were quite constructive, and Jesse engaged with it and said like, thanks for the feedback, or listed different reasons what he thought was valid or invalid. And then there's just like the people who just yell with pitchforks for the sake of creating noise on crypto Twitter and Farcaster. Probably less on Farcaster, but more on crypto Twitter. That's just the nature. Like you're trying to do something, and if you're doing something well or you're doing something new, there's going to be drama from both sides. People are going to love it, and then there's going to be a lot of people that hate it, and that's how you know you're doing something right, frankly. And there's
we don't even have the base token out yet. People don't even have a vested interest in the network yet.
There'll be plenty of hate when that
people will get way more angry. when the token goes down or something like that. That's just going to be.
Yeah, I
Timeline
think
on base
Jesse's doing a
token
good
feels
job.
crazy to me.
Yeah.
It's hard to be in the position Jesse's in, and I would say at the end of the entire debacle, he came out on top, and I think Base came out on top at the end of that week, and it's hard to do.
I'll tell you what the hard part in all of this is. As the four of us who are actively building something in the space, seeing things happening on competitive chains like Solana, and for example, this week's raise with, what was it, Vibe.us or whatever the hell that platform was called, supposedly raising $19 million in an ICO for a landing page of sorts. It makes you think, number one, how come Solana has so much more capital and so much more excitement compared to what Base is doing? And when projects try to do similar things, why don't they see the same momentum in doing so? And from an outsider's perspective, someone who's building on Base, it makes you question, like I would be lying to you, I'm like, oh no, everything's great. Like it makes you question what's happening over here. Like you only have so many more shots on bet. You're trying to survive. You have a cap table that you're working for in hindsight. And when you see opportunities like that happening on competitive chains, you can't help but wonder, am I doing something wrong? Right? Obviously, there's always areas to improve without a doubt. But just from the nature of, raising money or whatever it may be, maybe that's what Coinbase is trying to do with Echo and the acquisition of Kobe's company, which is fantastic. I think it's also a game of being patient and believing in something. So shout out Nick for one confirmation, like believe in something. And I do think the future is on Base. I do think. And I would argue maybe you guys think so as well, that's happening. But it's hard to not kind of get carried away by that and like get blindsided a bit and have like that FOMO.
I'll say here there's an open debate we have at Hume right now about what the right chain to be on is. And a lot of the time I go back to the fact that there are extremely successful products in crypto, some of the most successful products in crypto, the Poly market being the best example, that's built on a chain that's not cool, in quotes. And Hyperliquid was its own chain. And Virtuals originally launched on Base. It pretty much won the AI token race. So there's a part of you that wants to say, it really shouldn't matter what chain you're building on. If you're building a great product, you're going to get users, you're going to grow, you're going to see that moment of escape velocity. And then there's the other part that wakes up in the morning and sees something that happens on Vibes or feels like, okay, what's going on that chain that it seemingly seems easier for a brand new product to get moving. But then in the same breath, a lot of those brand new products often flame out really quick. So yeah, I find myself, I'll just speak for myself. I find myself caught in this constant back and forth of playing out that entire conversation every couple weeks. And it's really tough. And as someone who's very ETH aligned as a individual and taking, just what I personally want to see and have been part of since 2017, I want to see Base win. But then when you put on your founder hat, and Chevy, I think you just put it really well, in hindsight, you're working for a cap table. And at a certain point, some people on that cap table want to know why you're not on Solana. And it gets hard to justify this back and forth, especially in the space we're all in.
I'll tell you what, here's my the other part of me in my internal dialogue. What is recently the most successful crypto-based app? Polymarket. Polymarket is built on Polygon. It's is Polygon a result of that? Did Polygon do anything to help Polymarket? No, Polymarket just solved a genuine problem for people, created a net new thing online, and it just so happens that Polygon is the infra for that liquidity, right? For all that trading activity. So then it makes you think do the chains even matter? Because at some point, Pump Fund is probably going to support Base. Zora is going to go to Solana. And right now, this whole competitive island war of being monopolies on these islands, they're going to cross-pollinate. The energy is going to die down, and you're just going to have to solve a real problem. That's what it is, and the chain's not gonna need to matter. And I think Polymarket is like the best example of that from a founder's perspective. And but then you have those outlier scenarios where it's like you have Vibe.us supposedly ICOing, $19 million, and it's like, well, maybe the chain had something to do with that, frankly, to give you the head start. So it's a constant internal, at least, debate in my mind.
I found out today that the mechanism was that it was 100K crowd sale and it was oversubscribed to 19 mil because you get pro rata. And so there was 20 mil of contributions to the crowd sale, but it was only to fill 200 SOL worth of allocation. And so the reason people were doing that is because you can basically put in 1,000 SOL to get like 10 SOL of allocation. And since it's trading at 100K cap, you're basically guaranteed to make money on whatever allocation you end up getting. And so people were just like staking 20 mil worth of Solana to get into this like 100K market cap opening. And then they got refunded, 99% of their SOL. And then the 1% that they keep in, they can like 3-5x that. And so that was actually a little bit refreshing for me because I was crashing out like really hard about that yesterday. But now that I understand the mechanism that was in place there, it made more sense to me. There's a whole other debate about whether or not that's efficient. And I think that Jess from Seed Club had a great take on this, but I definitely share those opinions about like it's easier to form capital on Solana today, but what kind of capital is that? You pop into the Pump Fun streamer chat. At least I was on the Vibe streamer chat yesterday, and it was pretty foul. So I think that there's trade-offs to all this stuff, and I think that we've all made the decision to build where we're building for good reason, and just got to see it through.
It feels like there's a spectrum between the foul energy that Pump Fun has and like the camp counselor energy that Farcaster has, and like traditional internet culture is like somewhere in the middle of that. So at some point that energy should somehow meld between one another, because the comments on Pump Fun were nasty, but if you go and find like the comment sections on some TikTok and Instagram videos, they're as nasty, if not sometimes nastier, depending on the videos and how they're making fun of people with whatever it is that they're watching.
Just a question on that mechanism, Coop. So did they not actually raise 20 mil?
No, they raised 200 SOL.
Okay. That's a lot less than 220 million.
Still a music project in crypto raising money. Still pretty
no, they raised more than 200 SOL. Isn't that only
200 SOL?
That's 40 grand?
Yeah, it was like nothing.
Oh,
damn. Tough.
Maybe it was 400 SOL, but it was definitely less than 1,000 SOL for sure. But anyways, the only thing I call out there is that it wasn't to fund a music project. It was to buy the second launch on dev.fun. And I think this kind of highlights like a bigger issue that I have with the space is like when there's money to be made, people just fund it without even recognizing what it is. They don't care about what it is they're funding as long as they can flip it to make profit. And so then you have this kind of conversation of like, okay, well, how do I take advantage of like the profit opportunities that exist in crypto, irregardless of what it is that I'm actually trading? And I think that's the thing that's really been, I've been struggling with is like, where is their loyalty amongst crypto users? Like the loyalty is within the profit. The loyalty is not within the product or the community or like the ecosystems that are being developed here. And I think that that's something that's very challenging to sit with, given that so much of all of our businesses are reliant on this behavior, which feels very mercenary consistently in practice time and time again.
I also think all of our businesses started somewhat related or inspired by the NFT meta. And I do think there was, even if it was 10% more loyalty, I would argue it was more, but there was just more loyalty in that meta. Not to say that it wasn't profit seeking, not to say people were definitely trying to make money, but there was somewhere between like 10 to 30% more loyalty in that meta than we're seeing here. And I think that's something that everybody on this podcast building the type of products we're trying to build is trying to reconcile with that change in the market and realizing that that type of loyalty is just doesn't seem to exist from the current user base in any way, shape, or form.
I think that's my ambition with creator coins and loyalty coins and streamer coins. And I guess the segue towards the end of the conversation here, did my first stream on Zora yesterday. And, it was definitely cool having some people come in the chat and playing some music and talking with them and whatnot. And, I saw Zora's leaning more into like creator gated chats now where you need to like hold some coins to get into the chat room and whatnot. And so I still believe that like the creator coin pocket is still severely undervalued when it comes to the wider crypto meta here. But I think it's going to be interesting to see like who ends up becoming the predominant holders of these coins. And is it going to be the same people that are trading shit coins on Pump Fund and on FOMO, et cetera? Or is there going to be a new generation of like fans and actually genuinely supportive loyalty holders that are holding these assets over just like mercenary traders trying to flip them for 3 to 5x in one day, basically? So yeah, watch my Zora live stream. David, I saw you in the chat.
I was in the chat.
I joined, but you had just ended it, Coop. Just for the record.
In the chat.
There was some technical difficulties, but we're getting through it slowly but surely.
I'm gonna figure it out.
Speaking of chains, I have 2 topics, maybe quick closeout here. One is the Monad airdrop. How are we feeling?
Couldn't
we
claim
had
it.
anyone qualify?
I got the notification that I could claim, tried to claim, couldn't claim it, so couldn't tell you guys. Sorry.
I give it like a 7 out of 10. I've always loved some free money.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy that we say 7 out of 10 for free money.
Yeah, should be 10 out of 10.
Here's my take: is like the criticism is I just don't appreciate how like long they're dragging this out. You know, it's just been like one little thing to another, but like in reality, nothing's happening. You know, it's like I would love them to just like launch mainnet and like launch a token.
Launch it.
And easier said than done, but it's just one of those things that it's like I don't care about the claim. I don't care about how many tokens. I like just launch the chain. And
Should
then
we
I'll
open
claim
my day 2 boxes, boys?
Open them up.
Let's
Should we
do
open
it.
them up live
Share
on the
that
call?
screen.
Yeah,
Let's go.
So I
While
walked away
he's doing
yesterday.
that,
Okay, go ahead.
Coop. I was gonna soft pivot into MegaETH, but this is a different beast.
Here we go. So we got 3 boxes every day. 3 new boxes a day. See what we got?
Hey, it's an
A
unboxing.
whopping 2,000 tokens. Okay.
I think
ahead and do
today
this.
everyone's getting lower allocations than
I think
yesterday.
way less today. Yeah. Way less today. Pretty sure.
I love this UX. This is
On the positive side, I think this is the most fun and like exciting UX and UI for like claiming an airdrop that I've seen.
yeah.
I just wish it told me why I was getting these tokens.
Hey,
There it is.
you're good.
Not bad. We're up to 119K monad total now.
What's the
Yesterday
current
was
value?
definitely
Monad?
better. About
Did you
5
use your
cents a token.
Farcaster wallet for this?
It's my like main primary trading wallet linked with Farcaster. It's like you can link a bunch of socials in it. So yeah, there's my Farcaster here too.
I haven't done this yet. I should
Each
go do
box
this.
and airdrop help me open. More boxes coming soon. So yeah, not bad. I mean, it's like I think the FDV right now on most sites is like I think 5 cents a token is what I saw, and so we got 100K tokens.
I've
looking
seen
at like
some
$5,000.
fluctuations between 4 and 6 cents, so 4 to 6 billion
Send it
FDB.
to $1.
Send it to $1.
I would love that. Send it to $5
Send it
Yeah.
to 10.
while we're at it.
Send it to
Send
10.
it to 100.
And then MegaETH, man, I would say same thing we just talked about with DevFund. I think I saw that MegaETH has what, like $360 million in commitments right now? Something like that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh.
Yeah.
For somewhere around like $5 million of allocation. So I think in general, for better or worse, the play is like offer some amount of allocation and then just get it oversubscribed by like 10x so that you can get like this tiny little sliver of allocation that's available. So I mean, it's out
we're
there,
just
boys.
running back. This is like a
It's out
hard
there.
run back to the ICO meta. And I
Yeah.
think like I don't hate it. You know, I thought ICOs were great. They definitely got like
Oh,
you know,
you and I liked ICOs, Lukey, back in
they
the
were
day.
they
all
were
right?
a little bit of a bubble, a little bit.
We
of a bubble,
may have
but
written some white papers for some ICOs that never happened.
Wait, I have a question for you guys. Genuinely curious. We can end this. Why set up a public fundraise with such a small sliver, make it oversubscribe? Sure, there's a PR element. It feels like such a waste of capital. Like it feels like completely inefficient. And like, why not capture more of that value if the market is telling you that there's more to give? Like if you were doing a private
gonna
round of
happen.
VCs, you basically bid against all the VCs, boost your valuation, boost your amount that you take, and you'd be a happy camper, but it feels completely inefficient.
I just don't think people know exactly how much is out there, right? And
Yeah.
how much people are willing to allocate. And I think in the context of MegaETH, like they only had so much allocation. Like they've raised many other through other mechanisms over the past year or two. And yeah, but I think on the other side, it's like, I don't think the Vibes fund, whatever that thing was yesterday, like expected 20 mil, you know?
Yeah,
like
no
I think
way.
if they were going to expect 20 mil, they would have fucking set up, you know, the ability to get 20 mil in fundraising, or probably less, but you know.
And that's going to
So I
happen
think
like
it's just
this
like,
week for what it's worth. It's like now that people saw this happen this week, they're going to raise 3 mil on the back of a white paper again for sure.
Yeah, but the
Loki,
token's at like a 1.5 mil.
Yeah. It's at 1.5 mil, which at first I thought was a rug, but then I realized that the opening price of the token was 100K cap. And so if it's at 1.4, it's up 10x. So if you got it in the pre-sale, you're chilling. Lukey, sounds like we should write some white papers, buddy.
So we'll get back on the train.
Get back on the train, baby. Get back on the train, baby.
Amazing. Let's close it out.
Take us home, Lucas.
It's amazing. Great episode, guys. I feel like a little bit of a slow start, but we knocked off that rust pretty quickly and got into it. Good episode. As always, you can find all of these episodes on chain and online at pods.media/notacartel. And you can collect every single episode. It's been a while since I've done this. I'm a little rusty. Adam, you want to take a crack at this one?
No, I'm in awe.
You got it.
It feels quite nostalgic. I'm listening. Go for it.
I mean, he did it.
Thank you so much for listening into this episode. We'll see you on chain. We'll see you on base. Maybe Solana. Who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe on a live stream.
Maybe Monad. Who knows? See you guys.
Boom.